Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Sandal College Voice Section Online Class 8. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Here is Akhtar Saeed, your English teacher. First day in Class 8. First lesson. I pray for you. May Allah Almighty bless you all throughout your life. At the same time, on the first day of your new class 8, I would like to advise you to give due attention to your studies for better understanding. Dear students, first day, first lesson, that is a poem. When I heard the learned astronomer. Before embarking on today's lecture, I would definitely like to tell you something about the poet of the poem When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. The name of the poet is Walt Whitman, who was born in 1819 and died in 1892, worked as a journalist, a teacher, and a government clerk. His major work, Leaves of Grass, was a volume of poems that he kept adding to throughout his life. His style broke away from conventional poetry, and some of his poems seem very close to prose in their style. He wrote in free verse, यानी उन्होंने आज़ाद नज़म लिखी. And although he did not invent it, he is known as the father of free verse. अगरचे उन्होंने ये स्टाइल मुतारफ़ नहीं करवाया था, लेकिन उन्होंने आज़ाद नज़म इतनी खूबसूरत लिखी कि उन्हें बाबाए आज़ाद नज़म कहा जाने लगा. Whitman continues to be one of the most influential American poets. Now, dear students, I would like to discuss the summary of the poem briefly. When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. Walt Whitman first published When I Heard the Learned Astronomer in 1865 in his poetry collection Drum Taps. In this poem, the poet uses the example of an astronomer to show the difference between academic learning and experiential learning. यानी वो क्लासरूम में जो आप सीखते हैं उसमें और वो जो आप प्रैक्टिकली कुछ सीखते हैं अपने ज़ाती तजुर्बे की बिना पर, उसमें क्या फ़र्क है उसको विटमैन ने वाज़े करने की कोशिश की है. और यकीनन वो लर्निंग जो आप ज़ाती तजुर्बे के बाद हासिल करते हैं वो ज़्यादा इम्प्रेसिव होती है, वो ज़्यादा आपको समझ आती है, बजाय ये कि आप चंद एक चीज़ों को, फिगर्स को, नंबर्स को आप क्रैम कर लें, उन्हें रटा लगा लें. उसमें बड़ा फ़र्क होता है उस नॉलेज की निस्बत जो आप तजुर्बे से हासिल करते हैं. The speaker in the poem describes listening to a learned astronomer's lecture. He sees proofs and figures in columns before him, as well as charts and diagrams that he is supposed to analyze mathematically. At the end of the lecture, everyone else applauds the astronomer. Meanwhile, the speaker sits in the lecture room feeling sick and tired. वो बोर होता है. दूसरे जो स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं वो लेक्चर को एंजॉय करते हैं और तालियां बजा के तारीफ़ भी करते हैं एस्ट्रोनॉमर की, लेकिन इस स्पीकर को समझ नहीं आती, वो बोर होता है. When he goes out, he looks up into the sky and finally recognizes the magic of nature in the real sense and feels the beauty of twinkling stars above him. जबकि जब वो खुद बाहर निकलता है और रात के वक्त सितारों भरे आसमान को देखता है तो वो सितारों की खूबसूरती को और उनके बारे में तब सही जान पाता है जब वो प्रैक्टिकली खुद देखता है. जबकि एस्ट्रोनॉमर ने जो उसे बताया था डायग्राम्स की शक्ल में, मैथमेटिकली उसे समझाने की कोशिश की थी, तब उससे बहुत ज़्यादा समझ नहीं आई, लेकिन जब उसने प्रैक्टिकली खुद देखा सितारों को आसमान पे तो तब उसको उनकी ज़्यादा समझ आई और वो कुदरत की खूबसूरती की तारीफ़ किए बगैर नहीं रह सका. Dear students, when I heard the learned astronomer. Dear students, this is a blank verse. It has 8 lines of one stanza. First 4 lines describe the atmosphere of the classroom, the lecture, and the last 4 lines show the reaction of the speaker. Let's start. When I heard the learned astronomer. Learned is the contraction form of learned. It means well educated. Astronomer. Astronomer means a scientist who studies stars, moons, planets, and other objects in space. He has complete knowledge of all these objects found in nature. When I heard, the speaker is there in the lecture room. He heard the lecture of this astronomer when the proofs means evidences, subut, the figures were ranged in columns before me. All the evidences that the astronomer brings in the class in the form of audio visual aids, he shows all these proofs in the class to his listeners, to his viewers, to his students. When I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them. The astronomer comes into the lecture room, comes into the classroom loaded with a lot of diagrams and certain other teaching aids so that he might be able to deliver an impressive lecture to the students and the students may benefit themselves. When I, sitting, heard the astronomer where he lectured with much applause. Applause here means clapping, praise in the lecture room. All the other students sitting in the classroom applauded the lecture a lot, praised the astronomer a lot while delivering that lecture because he delivered that lecture in a very good way. But on the other hand, how soon unaccountable, strange, puzzling, I became tired and sick. Sick means got fed up. On the other hand, the speaker, he got very puzzled. He got very bored. He could not understand what the astronomer was telling him because he was just giving to him all the theoretical knowledge, not the practical knowledge. That is the basic difference the poet wants to bring to us. Till rising and gliding out. So he gets up, he goes out of the lecture room. I wandered off. Wandered means walked, roam about. बाहर चलता फिरता हुआ चला गया. Off by myself. In the mystical moist. Mystical means magical, spiritual. बहुत खूबसूरत यहाँ इसका मीनिंग है. Moist night air. Moist means wet, damp. And from time to time looked up in perfect silence. Perfect, complete silence at the stars. But he got bored in the classroom, but he came out of the lecture room after some time, and when he looked up at sky, that was moist night air. When he looked up in the sky, he saw a lot of stars in the sky. He got the experience of looking at the stars. That's why he recognized the beauty of stars. He looked at the stars in complete silence, in perfect silence. So he could understand the real meaning of the stars, but he could not understand anything while in the classroom. This is the basic difference the poet wants to bring to us. He wants to say that this poem serves to highlight the difference between the wisdom and knowledge. In this context of the poem, wisdom is the process of learning through experience and exploration. I mean, wisdom comes through experience. When you get some personal experience about some event, about something, you know the reality of the thing. As the speaker appreciates the wonders of night sky only when he practically looks at the stars at night. जब वो खुद सितारों को देखता है फिर उसे सितारों की हकीकत का सही पता चलता है. जबकि एस्ट्रोनोमर जो क्लासरूम में था उसने जितनी भी चीज़ें दिखाई डायग्राम्स के ज़रिए से और चार्ट्स के ज़रिए से उसकी स्पीकर को समझ नहीं आई. बट at the end, when he himself comes out of the classroom and looks at the stars in the sky, he really acknowledges the beauty of nature. On the other hand, knowledge is just the name of cramming certain numbers, figures, and facts. This is the basic difference that you can learn from this poem, that if you learn something practically, it imprints in your mind, it becomes the part of your personality, you understand it in the best possible manner, and sometimes just by cramming certain figures and numbers you cannot get the real knowledge and wisdom. So the wisdom comes through practical. That's all of today's lecture, dear students. I hope you might have understood the concept that has been presented in this poem. If you have any question, if you have any problem, you may comment in the comment section. I'll inshallah be there to answer your questions. Till some next lecture, take a very good care of yourself and your dear ones. Thank you very much.